Today we're going to go over our frequently asked questions, especially if you need information so we can help you. Because this is something that without this information or metrics that are similar to this, there's absolutely no way myself or any coach on this planet can give you any guidance. It's like when you go to the doctor's office and we're feeling ill or under the weather, right? When you go into the doctor's office, they're checking your height, weight, temperature, history, like what's going on. They don't just walk you in and go, hey, here's some penicillin, you look a little bit sick. Like you have to do a diagnostics of somebody, and these diagnostics have a ton of value, a ton, and we're going to get into that just a little bit, okay? First thing is we need your age, right? Why is that relevant? Because muscle, bone, all these sort of things, your 18-year-old you versus your 25-year-old you versus your 30-year-old you, there should be a massive difference, and there is based on age, but it's a combination of things, right? If you are 30 years old and you never did anything physical as a child, right, we're gonna figure that out real quick. If you're 26 years old and you grew up playing a ton of sports, you've fallen and skinned your knee a million times and gotten back up, age matters, okay? So the next thing is we need your height. Really, your height and weight are important because of that very same thing. Is not that it's a given absolute, but typically height and weight, when done together, is a real indicator of success when these numbers come out, right? Because if you don't want someone that's overweight, quite frankly, that's really the simple thing. And based on someone's height and some of these numbers, we can say, hey man, like your numbers are suffering because your body weight is keeping you held back. So we're gonna need to know that, absolutely, right? And there is no, what should my weight be so I can be successful? Well, that's also determined by height, age, and all these sort of things, right? Each one of these taken by themselves don't have a lot of value, right? But when all put together, there's a ton. Again, like I said, weight, there's not a perfect weight, but we need to know that. What we need to know is your timeline, right? Hey, you say, hey, I want to be in the Navy, the Army, the whatever on this timeline, right? We might say, hey, well, there's a reason behind it, or like a lot of this is why we say don't go see a recruiter until you have the numbers you want, because the timeline is the one thing that's either against you or it's for you. And if you go and see that recruiter before you're ready, a lot of this stuff you probably won't be able to work on. And that's what we see all the time is we see someone go commit to a recruiter, their numbers aren't where they want them, but you're now at the mercy of the branch of service and you don't get better numbers once you go see those mentors. We need current PST scores, not a made up, well, I think, or at my best, or when I was 18, and like, well, how old are you now? 25. Like, so that's a weird thing that we try to hide behind some of this stuff, but we need current PST scores, like what within a week or two, right? Or within a timeline in which they haven't changed, right? If you've been training for 6 weeks and you haven't tested yourself, well, before you get back to us, we need to know what your timeline, your numbers are, your current PST scores, okay? We need to have your run times, whether it's a mile, mile and a half, 2 miles, 4 miles, 26 miles, or you're doing a 100-miler. We need to have your run times every 400 meters, right? Maybe not, if you're doing a 100-miler, we'll probably do mile splits. But again, at most of the military, you're dealing with a mile and a half, 2 miles. We need to have your 400, because we need to see where exactly your energy systems or your physical body is failing you, right? We start seeing that, and we start combining with these things, we see it, right? We also need your swim times every 50 meters. Now, if your swim doesn't apply to you, then just throw it out. We don't necessarily need that. But every 50 meters, why? Because we're gonna see it the same thing. At what point is your physical body and your energy systems failing you? And a lot of times, that failure in the pool is on the turns. So we wanna see if the turns are really affecting you, good or bad, right? If there's a consistent turn, things like that. Because that's where we're gonna gain and lose a lot of time is on our turns and just being inefficient, okay? What we need and ask for is a 5 RM of your squat, bench, and deadlift. It gives us a lot more metrics of is a person dealing with strength issues? Are they dealing with endurance issues? What are the sort of biomechanic issues are we dealing with? Because these are really, really good, 3 really good closed chain compound movements. And that gives us a lot of indicators of how someone is moving generally athletically or not athletically outside of the test. Because you can't fake these. And that's why we want a 5 RM, not a 1 RM. In all my years of training, in all my years of coaching, I have only had 2 athletes ever give me their numbers accurately. Everyone wants to exaggerate or propose what they think they can do. And when we get you in here real time, I've only had 2 athletes ever hit this accurately. So we know that. We know there's a lot of fudgery in this, especially a lot of excuses. Doctor said don't do these things, but the last time I checked, doctors have absolutely no knowledge on this, nutrition, or sleep. So we don't get guidance from doctors on this, okay? You guys aren't power lifters. We don't need your 1RM. We don't need that maximal effort. When we get to a point where someone has real competence, we can push this 1RM. We can try the 1RM real time, or we know that athletes are very competent. We can do that. And then there's some strength value in that from the nervous system standpoint. How is this person moving this 1RM? How are they moving? Not are they doing it, right? In a powerlifting world, in the strongman world, we forget not only are they really, really strong, but to get that much mass moving, they have to move well. So I look at the powerlifting world as a nervous system like ninja, man. They're really, really good, right? If things are off, we can see it. But because we're not doing 1RMs in this field necessarily, in this sense, it really doesn't correlate to value until we've got this and some of these things, because if this is what you're chasing, but these are sloppy, then this is not real. Like a sloppy 1RM is not something we want to be proud of, and it's not something we want to advertise. Jets. So guys, before you send us an email, because from now on, if you get an email and it's like, hey bro, I really want to be a ninja, what do I do? Like, I don't know. I don't know your age, height, weight. I don't know your PST scores. I don't know your timeline. I don't know what your 5RMs are. I don't know any of those things. And then once we get that, what you see is a dialogue happens. We create a dialogue to find you the answer. Jet number 2. So guys, get us the email so we can help you, right? This is not a way for us to avoid you. This is a way for us to say, we want to help you, but if you don't have these numbers or haven't started acquiring them, then you're not helping yourself. Because here's the fact. Here's the truest of the true. As true as there is a God in heaven, wherever that might be. If anyone is giving you advice, anybody, a doctor, a lawyer, anyone that's giving you advice without collecting metrics of any sort, they're making it up. That's it. How can you guide somebody if you don't have data, right? Not everyone's the same. What we have found is that everyone's at a different starting point almost. Everyone's eventually gets to that right spot, but everyone might starts in a little bit different spots based on your training life and how much you've done, okay? We might have some other questions for you beyond this, but this really gets us going, right? Like you have other agencies that use a 300-meter shuttle, and so if that's the last part is that if there's something on this or something that's not on here that's a tested metrics for you, like hand release push-ups, right, for the Army. Give us your hand release push-ups, right? So help us help you, because I can guarantee you we have the information, the knowledge, and the wisdom to get you the right answer. Now the answer is, are you going to apply it?